and it sounds really natural. It's really nice. Do you really know the difference between placing an EQ pedal before and after your overdrives? Let's find out. So the good folks over at Sonicake sent me this EQ pedal called the Tone Group. It's an EQ pedal and it's dirt cheap. Now, I'm not gonna try to convince you that you need an EQ pedal. You should already know that, but some people do get confused on what happens depending on where you place one of these in a signal chain. So we're gonna clear that up today. I'm gonna run 3 different tests and show you 3 different ways, 3 fantastic ways you can use an EQ pedal. Number 1, before our drives. Number 2, after our drives. And number 3, lastly, after an amp, and I'll get to that in a minute. Now, for the ease of these tests, I'm gonna be running the Tone Group into the effects loop of the HX Stomp so we can move it around wherever we want. Now, since I mentioned the HX Stomp, I should also mention that if you wanna support this channel and receive some ready-made presets for any of the Helix devices, the HX Stomp, XL, Pod Go, Helix, click the link below. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let me show you what I got going on here so I don't have to do too much talking. You can just do some listening. I have 3 blocks at the beginning of my chain represented by these 3 foot switches, a tube screamer right here, factory setting, another tube screamer over here, factory settings, and in between those is the effects loop block holding the Tone Group. So when you see these lights come on, you will know this overdrive is before the Tone Group and this overdrive is after the Tone Group. So for the first 2 tests, I'm gonna be toggling back and forth with different settings on the Tone Group so we can see what it does to the same exact overdrive. First, let's just boost it. All right, so the things to notice, the things to keep in mind is that when our EQ is after an overdrive, it acts like a clean boost and it's tone shaping. When it goes before an overdrive, it actually pushes that drive into more gain while also adjusting the tone structure. But you'll notice how this first option is much louder because it's acting like a clean boost, where you'll notice that this option, it's a little more gainy but not as loud because it's just pushing more gain into the overdrive circuit. One helpful way to think about this is to see your signal chain as a river, with each pedal being like a little pool that catches and pours into the next effect. So here's our guitar, here's our amp. Whatever you put into one of the pools is gonna take whatever comes into it, change it, and make it keep going. So in this case, we have gain coming into a boost, and we're going to color this boost, and that color is going to follow it down to the rest of the effects. Same is true if we switch the drive and the boost. This unique EQ curve is going to pour into this overdrive, and this overdrive is going to shape the rest of it and pour it down into the next effect. Same is true with reverb and delay. Some people like their delays before their reverb so that each individual delay has reverb attached to it. But if we were to switch these around, we would get reverb first, and then we would have delays separate from the reverb, with the reverb just being applied to the tone that came before it. Now, one of the things that we can do with a tube screamery type sound is that a lot of times tube screamers are mid boosted to kind of punch through the mix, but you might feel that it loses a little clarity on top or a little low end. Well, we can add that back with some of these frequencies. So if we go to the lower frequencies here, 62, which is kind of low, and 125 on this pedal, all EQ pedals are different. They may display different numbers, and I've heard that they're not always accurate, so you just need to use your ears here. But somewhere in the low sub 200 range and up in the 2 to 4,000 range, we can add some clarity on top and add some low end. So this is what we would want to do if we're just trying to tone shape our overdrive. Now let's just see what happens when it comes before the overdrive. don't know what you can tell through YouTube and compression and stuff, but I can tell that the frequencies are responding differently. Let's make some more extreme settings so we can really hear the difference. Let's go pick some different overdrives just for fun. The Vital Distortion. Let's do the new Dark Dove Fuzz. Before we run our third test, let's put a Timmy in there and boost some of these mids just to see if we can get some more beefiness out of our Timmy. Alright, so another thing you can do is use an EQ at the end of your signal chain, even after your amp, to do kind of what we were doing when it's after the overdrive. We can use it as a final shaping tool. Now, if you're using a real life amp and not an amp that's just modeled in here where we can move things around, if you don't have that, you can also put this in the effects loop of your amp to get it past the preamp to help some more tone shaping. So let's just say I arrived at a venue and my tone is just a little dark. Sounds a little dark. Well, let's boost some of this. We'll bump up 2K and 4K just a little bit and add some down here around 60, which I usually, in the Helix stuff, I usually don't go below 80, but on this pedal, 60 still seems to give it a little bit of beef without being too low. Just gives it a little bit more growl. All right, let's dial up a worshipful tone real quick. Not only does it tone shape it, but you could also kick it on as a solo boost. So if we were to crank it a little bit more, we're just gonna get pure volume out of this because it's coming after everything. It's not pushing any of the circuits, any of the tubes in the amps. It's just gonna get louder. And you can move it around and also shape your amp. So I'm gonna take that same sound and move it right before the amp. See, the volume went down and we got more gain. And it sounds really natural, it's really nice. All right, thanks for watching the video. If you want to get your hands on the tone group, which I didn't know it said tone group at first. I thought it was like tone gollop because of the way the grollop or something. Anyways, if you want to get your hands on this, it looks really nice. It's top mounted. It doesn't look like a cheap pedal. I was very surprised when I looked up the price. So if you want to get your hands on this, I'll link it down below. That'll be an affiliate link for sure on Amazon. Thank you, Sonicake, for sending me this and a couple other pedals that I'll be demoing very soon. Check out the Expanse pack and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.